Hello everyone and welcome to this video. This is going to be one of the most requested features since I started working on the Smart NPC pipeline videos with OpenAI and Unity and Ready Player Me avatars. In this case, this is going to be like a last building block of this whole thing because we started with turning text into text with ChatGPT replies. Then we used Whisper API that OpenAI brought along the way. So now we are able to actually turn audio into text as well. This is the final block that we get text and turn it into audio so our NPCs can actually speak just like we talk to them. So the whole thing is going to turn into, we speak, turn it into text, send the text to OpenAI, get the reply also turns into audio, and the whole cycle is complete. And when it comes to text to speech, there are quite many services. Most known are, of course, IBM Watson, Microsoft Azure Cognitive Speech Services, I suppose, if it was the name, and Amazon Polly. There are some other services out there, like less popular. If you would like to use some of them, definitely you can go for that. For this video, I'm gonna go with Amazon Polly because it has a good .NET support, and it is one of the services Amazon Web Services is a service I pay for and I already have the access to. The thing is, Azure and IBM are also paid services. Even though they give you certain amount of free usage, we will need credit card information, phone number and such. So there's a certain barrier to go to the other side to be able to utilize this. I already had Amazon access and I was using its .NET SDKs. So this is the reason I want to go with that. In your case, if you are using Azure or IBM services, definitely you can check out what they can do for you. At the end, using it in Unity all depends on their .NET support, and you can pretty much handle it yourself. But if you do not know, Amazon is a great place to start. Let's first get to creating an Amazon account, and after that we will program it, get the audio, and later put it onto an avatar. First thing we're going to do is creating an Amazon Web Services account. If you already have an account, you can of course skip this stage, and I will put all the URLs in the description of this video so you can follow along. I already have an account. I won't be able to create one, but I will try to guide you with some screenshots. So when you visit aws.amazon.com, you will see a create an AWS account button here. You can click there and you will be guided to provide your email address and start the process. Right after that, you can enter your email address and the account name you want to create. Then you will receive a verification code. You can enter this verification code after the page you see when you click on verify your email address. And after that, it is going to ask you about phone number and address information. And here you can either select that you want to use it for business or personal use. Right after that, you will be asked for your credit card information. This is for once your free tier usage is over, so they can charge it. But Amazon is really good with that. They notify you before the billing, so no sketchy thing like just sneakily charging you kind of thing doesn't happen with them. This is one of the reasons I really like them and trust them. You enter the information and move forward. I suppose they were going to get like $1 from you just to verify and then send it back to you. This is some kind of verification process that the credit card is actually usable. And right after that, you will do another confirmation either with voice call or a text message. So your identity with the phone number will be checked. You will enter a security code as well, and you enter the security code you get on the call or through text message. And right after that, you can select the plan you would like to go for. You can go for the basic free package and start already using Amazon Web Services. After you create your account, you can log in as a root user. I'm just going to enter here. I'll enter my password. And we are in Amazon Web Services. I'm directly gonna go to Polly and let's see what we have here. So you can already start testing Poly in this UI, that you can type some text and listen to it or download the audio. So this is also possible. So this is what you get here, but this is not what we are going to deal with. What we are going to deal with is actually the SDK and its usage. To be able to use the SDK, we will need to create a secret key and a public key. So we can use this in there and create our account. So I'm gonna go to my name on the right top. I will click on security credentials. Right here you can see there is a list of access keys. So what you will do is, again, this is not, I have to tell you, this is not the best way to do this. The best is to create a user and assign that user these keys. I'm gonna create for root user, which will be able to, you know, like be used by everywhere. Not a good way to do that, but for the sake of quickly doing this demo, we will go with that. Create a key. It already warns you with what I wanted to tell you, and you say I understand. You create a key, and it gives you the access key and the secret key that you can show and copy. Please get these two keys and save them somewhere, because we will use them later. You will be able to see your access key. However, you won't be able to see your secret key later on. So this time when you click on show, this is the only time you see that. You click done, and this is pretty much it. You will be warned again just in case you got it. All right, we have our keys, we have Amazon access. For you, it might take a little longer to create an account and get the confirmation from Amazon, but you can continue the video right after that. What we are going to do now is actually going and getting the SDKs and the DLLs that we are going to use in Unity. For that, let's start with an empty Unity project. Here we have our empty Unity project. However, where we are going to get Amazon Web Services SDK. So it's not going to be through Package Manager, because there is no direct support of Unity for Amazon Web Services packages like that. However, when you search, you will find Amazon Web Services documentation for .NET, and under there is Unity support, which says special considerations for Unity support. In short, we will have to download this zip file and get the right packages for us, which is standard 2.0 and 2.1 support comes here, because our API compatibility level is 2.1 and we are using mono scripting backend. So we will be downloading this file. Let's go and download that. And on top of that, there are 3 DLL files we will need. However, these come with Unity already. So just getting the first DLL, Microsoft BCL async interfaces, that is going to be sufficient for us. And if you are using intermediate language to CPP scripting backend in Unity, you will need to create a file called link.xml and put it into root, which will look like that. In that case, we will need Amazon Web Services SDK core and Poly. So you would remove one of these lines and remove this to Poly, and that would be sufficient for you if you are using IL to CPP backend. In my case, I will just go with mono and be done with that. So let's click on this one. It takes us to Nugget Package Manager. Normally, you can get any C# and Microsoft packages through Nugget Package Manager. This is like maybe you can consider it like Node Packages website. However, this doesn't work with Unity right away. This is the reason we needed to download this zip on the first time. However, in this case, we do not have a zip file, but we will download the package directly. So on the left side, you will see this download package. And when we actually go to the download location, what you will see is that this is a NUPKG file, Nugget package. This actually is a zip file itself. So to extract things from it, I will just rename it to .zip. Let's save it. And voila, I can see the content now. So rename it to zip. By the way, to be able to do that from the file settings, you will need to enable seeing the extensions. So don't forget that, otherwise the extension won't be visible to you. In this case, I was able to change that. I'm going back into it. I'm gonna go into lib folder. Then I'm gonna pick net standard 2.1. Do not try to use 2.0 because it has some errors, like it's an older version. This works flawlessly. So what we are going to need is the DLL file itself. So I'm gonna move it up into the main folder that was in. So this is one of the DLLs I need. And I'm gonna move into the AWS SDK. And here I'm gonna find AWS SDK.core and poly. These two DLLs are what I need. So I'm just gonna scroll down. There are quite many things here, like all the possible available SDKs of Amazon. And so core is here. So core DLL, I'm gonna drag this into new folder up there, and I'm gonna go down to find poly. So let's go down, pipes, Proton, poly is right here. So I'm again picking poly.dll. Other things you don't really need at the moment, just moving it up. So Microsoft BCL, Amazon SDK, poly, and core, these are the three libraries that I need. Let's go back into Unity. I'm gonna create a folder here called plugins. And I will place these three libraries right in here. So we are ready to script with Amazon SDK. So let's create a script that we are going to use to run the SDK. I'm gonna call it text to speech. And let's open our script. So first thing we are going to do is create the client so we can actually connect to Amazon Web Services. Here we are going to use this secret key and the public key that we had. So for that, first I'm gonna create a, let me actually just disable Copilot, disable for C#. All right, so okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is a variable called client, and this is going to be a type of Amazon poly client. So new Amazon poly client. So this client takes two variables. One is the Amazon Web Services credentials. Second one is the region. So I'm gonna create another variable here. Let's call it credentials. And this is going to be basic Amazon Web Services credentials. All right. So in this one, you will use your access key, which is the public key, and the secret key. So I'm not going to type mine right here just yet, so you can't see it. But this is where you are going to put your keys. Again, this is not a good practice because people just can, reverse engineer using a tool like dot-pick and see your keys. They can use them and you will get a huge bill. Do not do this in your product. Best way to do it, again, have a server side, just get the generated audio from there. It might be slower, but this is a safer way to do that unless Unity introduces, I don't know, some other way to handle these kind of situations. All right, so I have my credentials now. I'm gonna just put the credentials in here. And what I'm gonna need is the region, which might be for me Central Europe 1 should be all right. Probably this was Frankfurt. Okay. All right, this is pretty much it. Now we have our client already registered. The next thing is we need to create the synthesizing the speech, the request for synthesizing the speech. I'm gonna create a variable called request, and this is going to be a type of synth synthesizes speech request. All right, so this is going to have some initial values in it. So when we check the UI in the Amazon website, there are certain options like which engine you want to use, which output format, voice ID, the name of the character you want to use, and the text itself. So first we are going to have our text. Let's say testing Amazon Poly in Unity. And we want to use a natural sounding person. So engine, we are going to use engine neural. So this is more human-like sounding one rather than standard, which is I think a little more expensive per audio, but result is much better, not like robotic voice. There we have voice ID, which is the name of the character we are going to use. There are like many of them available. You can see the names here. As far as I remember, some of them didn't really work for me, so I can't really say if all of them are available, but we can, for example, check ARIA. I do not remember using it, but if it doesn't work, we can change it to another one. And our output format will be MP3. Output format, there's I think OGG and WAV format as well, but this is what we are going to use for now. So we created our request as well. Now I'm gonna make my request and wait for the response. And so we create a response object and client dot synth synthesize speech async, and I'm gonna send my request in there. The thing is, this is a asynchronous method, so I can actually await it right here. Sorry, await. However, I will need to change the type of my method to awaitable, so it's gonna be a async void start. Let's say private async void start, so I can actually have awaitable tasks inside. This is pretty much it. We created our credentials, created our client with the credentials, created the request, made the request, and pretty much we have our audio right here. Unfortunately, things are not over right here. The result we get from this is sorry, let's go to response, and audio stream is the result we get. So our audio is in here. It's a system.io.stream type, and unfortunately Unity does not have a direct way to convert audio stream into audio clip. So we will need to handle this manually. I looked for multiple ways. I tried to handle this in the memory directly, but all I get is just like static noises, buzz, and nothing proper. So how we handle it is, we get the audio stream. First, we write it into a file, an MP3 file. So we pretty much make that result a concrete file in our system. And using a Unity web request, we load it from local into an audio clip. So this is the way to do it. Not a direct way going back and forth in different places, but this was the only way I was able to discover. If you have a better option, please let me know in the comments. We can update this example and have a much shorter, much better way to handle that. But so far, this is how I was able to handle it. So what we can do is writing this audio stream into a file. How are we going to do that? Let's create a method for that. I'm going to say private void write into file, and this is going to get a stream. Let's call it stream, and this is it. So here we are going to turn our stream into a file stream. So let's say using var file stream equals equals new file stream. So this file stream will have the output file name and the type. So we can just call it audio.mp3, and it's going to be a create operation. Oops, we already had the break keys here. So I think if we just save it in the audio mp3, it might go into the root folder. So maybe best is to put it into persistent data folder. So I'll just say application persistent data path. So this is where our file will be written. And for that, I need to create a data buffer, which we are going to save every chunk that we are going to read from the system, read from the stream. Let's say new byte array, bytes, and size can be, for example, 4 times 1k, or it's up to you to decide. The since this is audio file, larger chunks are much better. So smaller chunks means like more iterations, but you also don't want to leave some space if it's like too small. So if it was smaller text, I would have smaller buffer size. Let's say a number of bytes read. So bytes read starts from 0, and while there's bytes to read, we are going to say stream dot read, and this is to buffer. Yeah, buffer. It will start from 0. We'll go buffer size, and we will keep doing this while this is larger than 0. So let me put it into parentheses like this. So yeah, so while this whole thing is larger than 0, it's gonna read, and what we're gonna do is file stream write, and we'll write the buffer from 0 to bytes read. So while there is bytes to read, we will keep writing this into the file stream, and once using block is done, we do not need to do close or dispose, as far as I know, because at the end of the using, file stream will be flushed and we will be done with this. So I'll just copy the signature from here. Whoops. Let's get this here. So we made our request and get the response. We got the response. Now this stream is in the response itself, and we say audio stream, and now we got the audio stream from the file. We wrote it into persistent data path audio.mp3, and we have our file in our system. So the next step is to download it using Unity web request. So I'm gonna say using var www equals new, or not necessarily new, because I'm gonna use get audio clip of Unity web request. So Unity web multimedia, Unity web request multimedia is the class I'm gonna use, and get audio clip will be what I do. So I know the path. I will make a call to the same path because the audio is in here, and the type of the audio is, so mp3 goes under mpeg file here. Yes, so Yeah, this pretty much covers MP2 and MP3. We picked this one because we opted in for MP3. So we created our web request. So now I'm going to start my web request. I'm gonna cache this asynchronous web request result into a variable. So I'm gonna say send web request. Why I'm doing this is that this is not a coroutine, it's an asynchronous method, start method. So I'm not gonna do a yield return the www send web request, but I'm gonna keep this asynchronous operation result, and in a while loop I'm gonna wait until it completes. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna say op.isDone. While it's not true, I'm going to await task yield. Task here will be coming from system threading task, and we will call yield method. So this will do it, and once the operation is done, I can get my clip from the request. How I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna use download handler audio clip, get content method, and I'm gonna put my web request result into it. So this is how it is. How can we use this clip is that I will need to use a audio source. We don't have it yet, but let's create a variable for it that we are going to assign from the inspector. Private audio source. Let's save it, and audio source dot clip is the clip we just retrieved, and audio source dot play. So when we run the scene, our audio will play. Then let's go to Unity scene and create this audio source. I'm gonna create a game object first that I want to assign the script onto. And let's create our audio source, which we are going to assign into this variable that we just exposed. So we're gonna set it to there, and we're gonna play it in it. I expected to say testing Amazon Polly in Unity. But before running the scene, one thing I forgot is actually setting the credentials. So I'm gonna just move my screen to the other side and paste my credentials in there where you can't see it. So, and right after that, I should run the scene, which I saved it right now. I should run the scene and we should hear the audio.
Testing Amazon Polly in Unity.
Amazing. So it did work. All right, so this is cool. Let's change the text to this is a pretty cool tech. And let's change the character to let's say Ayanda. All right, so let's try something different. I'm running the scene.
This is a pretty cool tech.
So as you can see, you can get different accents, different sounding voices. This can make your NPCs quite diverse. All of them can have different personal sounds to them. You can also assign this. This is very cool. This video lasted longer than I expected, so I'm gonna cut it here. But thank you so much for listening. And in the next episode, we can continue the Smart NPC project and implement this in it using the components that is coming from Ready Player Me to basically move the mouse. Or we can also add Oculus VSM and have much better looking facial movement with the audio to complete our Smart NPCs. Have a nice weekend.